Hello, beings of the internet. Welcome to this live stream. I am just going to check very quickly I'm streaming properly because I'm streaming into Facebook. So hello, Facebook, and to YouTube. Hello, lovely YouTube. I'm just going to make sure I'm connected and then I'll dive in. So if you're watching the replay, as always, just take a couple of breaths just to prepare yourself for the messages that are going to come your way. Yep, that is live on here. I shall just check. I didn't announce this one. I only put a post up a couple of like 10 minutes ago. So let's see. Okay. Right, so let's get started. So welcome. So tonight or this afternoon, whenever you're watching, I want to talk to you about reasons why you hold yourself back from your true power and breaking through this. So I feel very fired up kind of energy right now. I wanted to share this with you. And if you've never tuned into me, feel free to say hello, please, so I can connect with you. And if you have, say hello, because yeah, you've already connected with me. So how these work then, I'll just flow through the messages. It's me talking. I partly channel at the same time, if you're not familiar with that. And we'll just let the messages come through. And what you'll find is it's not uncommon to feel stirrings. Hello, Wisteria, if you're here. Hello. Oh, you caught me live this time. Great. So it's not uncommon to feel stirrings when you hear me, because I do have and deliver light codes in my messages. So sometimes you can feel this. So just pay attention. There's nothing that you need to do. And sometimes just receiving messages like these, what they do is they activate things inside of you that were already there, that were just laying dormant, and you just needed to hear specific words, specific phrases to kind of bring it online. That's really how these types of messages work when you tune into me, because you're also getting my energy and my divine team of angels and Arcturians and all the goodness. So welcome to this live stream, and thanks Wisteria for joining me. You managed to catch me. I'm so glad. So let's just dive in, and if you're watching the replay, feel free just to comment, and I can catch your comments later. So I really felt like sharing this because there's a lot of this going on. A lot of us are feeling, so check in if this is you, it's like one foot in the old ways of being, maybe in the way that you did live your life, and then one foot in the kind of higher frequencies. So you must have needed to be here because you just picked up your device about 3 minutes ago. Perfect. So this message is definitely for you as well. So we've got kind of one foot in both camps, right? And a lot of us right now are feeling, and I'm definitely connecting with people that are sharing this with me, is that there's a feeling of wanting to kind of, like what I felt in recent months, of just wanting to kind of pull your layers off, your own old, shedding your own skin, and really stepping into a newer, more powerful version of you. But sometimes, even though we want to do that, we've got these things like almost pulling us down, and there are reasons for this. So my intention is just to shine a light on this for you, and as you're listening, you can just tune in and start to feel into what might be some of your own reasons, because once you see them, you really do get to break through. And I'll talk about kind of how to do that just in general, and I've also got a couple of ways I can help you if you're interested in that as well. But there are also things you can do for yourself to really recognize, why am I holding myself back? And this is something I do for myself all the time, because I feel like in the last 2 years I've been consistently kind of peeling off the layers, right, to get into the truth of who I am. And I know that so many of you are feeling that. So let me know in the comments below if you are feeling any of these energies, and I'll just dive into, right, what are the reasons? And there are good reasons. So this is about not criticizing yourself. It's just acknowledging, this is interesting, how interesting. And we get to choose to shift trajectories. I'm very much about that. I'm all about transformation. And in case anyone's tuning in who doesn't know me, I'm founder of the Awake Revolution, and my whole business is centered around helping you drop that inner baggage, wake up the real you, and then revolutionize how you're thinking, feeling, living, creating, and really being who you came here to be. And some of us have very deep reasons and purposes and missions, and you're not imagining it. So if you're drawn to my messages this year, there is a reason. Even if you're popping in curious, what is she talking about, and you find yourself tuning in even later on the replay, there is a reason for that, because none of this is coincidental. Okay, so we always hear what we most need to hear. That's just how it works. It's magical. So I'm going to dive in then. So the first one is reasons why you might be holding back from your true power is you've been buying into the world's programming. I think this is the most important one to start with, because we forget sometimes, and I know everyone I'm connected with here pretty much on Facebook and YouTube, you're aware, you know what's going on, you know even parts of it, that there's more to this bullshit, right, than meets the eye. Yes, ma'am, yes. So there's more to this bullshit than meets the eye. And so it's really worth remembering, whether you're focusing right now on your own healing, maybe your relationships, your health and fitness, your creativity, your business, whatever the thing is for you, you are going to still be subject to the world's programming. We all are, just from being here. So let's just shine a little light on that and remember, because sometimes I forget that. Sometimes when I'm working through something, it's almost like I've taken all this kind of burden on myself, right? Especially if you're used to doing the inner work. And sometimes we forget, yes, of course, we have a responsibility for our own growth, but let's remember that we're in very difficult conditions. So if you're stuck, let's just start with this. You are in a world, let's just look at the truth of it. You're in a world that bombards you left, right, and center with messaging around how you don't look good enough, you're not enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not handsome enough, you're not thin enough, you're not built up enough, you don't have enough money, you're making too much money. Something about you isn't right, according to the world's bullshit programming. So let's just quickly look, if you take your mind to the flipping beauty industry. If we woke up tomorrow, man, woman, whatever, if you woke up tomorrow feeling really good about yourself, you were not concerned about the lines that started to appear on your face, or your hair changing color, or your body, or some other aspect, these industries would go out of business. These are billions and trillions of pounds and dollars in these industries. They would all go out of business because they rely on siphoning our energy around our lack. So let's start there. So we're in this world of bullshit programming. We're getting hit by frequencies to lower our vibration. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, you resonate. Okay, good. I'm glad you feel that. Because the more of us that are in resonance with this and we can see what's going on, the better, because we break the illusion. So, and even if we do know, it can still have an impact, because we're all having to break out of this conditioning right now. I definitely am. We all are. So even if, people feel that they're already in the 5D, oh, great, send me a postcard. But we will still be fluctuating, and things will still occur here where it pulls us out of that lovely high vibration that we can access sometimes if we can. And there's a lot of heaviness. So there's a lot of messaging around in our music, in our entertainment, in our plot lines. We have all this bullshit around relationships. That's a whole other live stream I'll do at some point, because there's so much bullshit there. So we're programmed all the time. We have loads of programming around money, how only evil people want money. And isn't that convenient when the 1% are getting richer and the average person is getting more in lack and scarcity? What a great program to keep us all stuck in, right? So let's just acknowledge that there are programs here that are influencing us. So when we start to recognize that, and we can start to consciously make choices to have a look at that and step away from it and start to reprogram ourselves, and that's basically what I help people do. Like therapeutically, guidance, mentoring, all different ways, but that's what we get to do for ourselves. So understand that we are being programmed, and it's going to take a while, but this is okay. And I love the fact that we are here right now, and more of us are seeing it, right? We're all seeing through the celebrity being put up on a pedestal. We're seeing all these programs, health, education, politics, legal, food production, every single thing. So it's all impacting us, but this is okay, because we're gonna move out of this more and more collectively. So I feel very positive about that, but it's challenging, right? It's really challenging sometimes. So next one. being influenced by others. So this is a huge common one. Reasons why you might hold yourself back from your true power is because we are a product of the people that we spend time with. Now, of course, we can still be in shitty environments and break free of that, but we've got to remember that the way that we are physical human beings as well as amazing energy, but we are so programmable. So when we're spending time with people, we're getting influenced by them sometimes. So just, as I'm speaking, just see what comes to you. Is it certain friends? And we all know who these are, right? Certain friends, certain family members, maybe people in your community. Who is influencing you? And it's usually, when you bring it to mind, where do you feel that you don't fully stand in your power? And I had a lot of this going on before. I used to feel, because I was very in tune with people, so this might be you as well, where you know how you can pick up on someone's energy and you can tell that maybe they're lacking in confidence or they're lacking in self-worth. So what we do is we shrink ourselves down to appease them or to make them more comfortable. So we're really being influenced by the energies around us. So if you're someone that wants to create and to expand and to have a different kind of life, and pretty much everyone who's drawn to my message in some way, you are all this. You are absolutely here for that. You will find that this is a thing. So it's just being aware of who are you spending time with, and just for some people that will mean cutting people off. For some people it will mean limiting maybe the time you spend with certain individuals, but just being aware that they have an influence, and they have an influence on us energetically as well. And more of us are feeling a shift in relationships. I know a lot of people, their relationships are breaking down, they're relocating, they're connecting with different people or feeling the need to connect with different people. So this can be a really, really big one, and it can bring up a lot of stuff. So the idea here is just to shine a light on this, and then you can think about where to make changes, right? Because sometimes we don't talk about this. We don't talk about the difficult side of breaking through all of this. We talk about, wow, I'm over here. Isn't this amazing and expansive? But there's a journey, and sometimes it's going to bring up these big, deep-rooted issues for a lot of us. And I've definitely, definitely felt those come up over the years as well. So the other one, following, I've written them down so I don't get too sidetracked. Following other ways, but you're not here for that. So I know if you're still with me and you're watching now or on the replay, you are someone and you know this, and maybe you need a reminder. You didn't come here to follow what is already here. As I said, we've got these world earth programs. You came here, and I don't even have had to have met you to be able to say this, because if you're listening to this message, I am calling people in. This is how I work now. So if this is reaching your beautiful ears, minds and hearts, know that this is you. So you didn't come here to follow the other ways. You came here, you're not here for that. You didn't come here to follow blueprints. You came here to create and to help create very new ways of being. And what that means is not living like everybody else, not thinking like everybody else, not maybe even feeling the way they do. You look at the world differently. Maybe you were one of those people that could see through the bullshit of what has been going on the last couple of years, and maybe people around you couldn't. So you're here for that exact purpose. So what that means is sometimes when you don't fully own that, you can really hold yourself back because you're almost making yourself feel wrong, or you kind of go into isolation. You feel like there's something wrong with you because you're so different to everyone. So I want to just remind you right now in this moment that thank God that you're here. We need you here. We need as many souls as possible to be here holding that frequency, because you came here to create something different. And even if your life right now does not look like that, as I know some of you will be tuning in, and maybe you're thinking, well, I just do a 9 to 5. I am like everyone else. But here you are listening to a message like this. So remember that we're all on different paths and we're all on different stages of the journey. But a lot of you are to step into your true natures. A lot of you will be having activations. You're having them now. A lot of you are going through awakenings. This does not always feel comfortable, and a lot of you are going to. You haven't yet, but you will. There's so much happening on this planet. So this is why sometimes you can hold yourself back, because you haven't fully, almost you haven't accepted that you are here to be different. And so when you try and fit in with everybody, something doesn't feel right. You just feel squashed down, you feel smaller, you feel exhausted, you feel like maybe even in despair, maybe even in depression, maybe some anxiety comes up for you, whatever your flavor. Maybe you feel restless. It's difficult. So I want you to know that there's a purpose for this, and see it as growing pains. I think I did a live stream, my last live stream, I think I used that phrase, growing pains, because that's exactly what it is. It doesn't feel comfortable, but true awakening, it's beyond the Facebook quote, right? It really does. Yeah, sometimes it just brings up, it pulls us from the roots and it shakes us to the core. And sometimes our lives feel like they're spinning out of control and everything's getting worse. But this is the path to breaking through all of the stuff that you knew. So just hang in there. And I know some of you are like, you've got it, you feel steady, some of you less so. So wherever you are on that, it is okay. And if you want to connect, by the way, I do have my free group, the Awake Revolution Soul Team. So just search on there and come on in there, because I'm in there live streaming as well. And we've got lovely, lovely souls in there that you can connect with. Okay. Not knowing yourself truly. Another reason why you hold yourself back. Not knowing yourself truly. You may know yourself as the persona that you've been walking around with. And this is okay. We all do this. You might have been attached very much to your personality, your persona. Think of yourself as your identity, your name, where you live in the world, the persona, the personality, the version of you that's very human. And it includes the things that have happened to you, your experiences. You may have identified with that as you are this kind of person, you are this kind of person. Maybe, you're criticizing yourself, but you're not. You're kind of not knowing yourself truly, because there is a persona part of you, but there's the soul part of you. Now, a lot of you who connect with me, you're totally on board with the soul part of you. You get that. But for those of you maybe who are still going, that's a bit woo-woo, it is not. It's mainstream. Let's call it that. It is so normal to consider yourself to be a spiritual being. Again, what's happened with the world's programming, it's subverted it all, made it sound crazy, put all this powerful knowledge in the back room, locked it up for only a certain proportion of people to access. In the meantime, deceiving everybody else that it's all nonsense. What's happening now is a huge collective awakening, where we are now starting to recognize that we are spiritual beings. There is nothing woo-woo or strange about that. It is very ordinary. It isn't magical or mysterious. It's very ordinary to be a soul in the human experience. It's like, I'm always being told by my guides, they talk about humanity being in its infancy. It's like we are learning the ABCs in the universe. We're the class in the universe, the Earth school. We're learning the ABCs, and it's like, oh, we're stepping into, maybe we are spiritual, maybe we are a soul, maybe we have had other lifetimes, and it's just the ABC. There are beings across the universe who totally have done that. They completely understand that. They're very young. Beings on other star systems would know that from birth. So we have a lot of catching up to do, and this is okay. It's okay. We're just catching up. But we've been suppressed for a long time here. So it's time now, which is why part of my mission is to really talk about this and make this more accessible, more down to earth, more real, more grounded. We are spiritual beings who dropped into the earth plane and in the human form to experience this lifetime. That includes you. You listening to this have had multiple lifetimes. Even if your mind doesn't believe it or can't conceive it, That's okay. Your soul knows. Your soul knows that you have. So this is just a stirring up for anyone that needs to hear this. You are a spiritual being. There is more to you than this physical form, and you know it. This is why you're here. So that's why sometimes when we disown that part of ourselves and we're trying to live this life as if we are nothing more than this physical form, yeah, we're holding ourselves back a lot from our power because there's so much light inside of us. Yeah, so that's just going to be ongoing for all of us. Playing a small, safe game to fit in. So, where in your life? First thing that comes to you. What's the first thing that comes to you? Where are you playing a small, safe game to fit in? Could be in your life, personal life, could be in your business somewhere. It could be you don't want to ruffle feathers. You don't want to stand out too much for the reasons I spoke of earlier. You don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. You want to just turn your light down a little bit just because you feel like it's easier maybe. But it's not. It's not, is it? Because you can feel it. You can feel that feeling. And I tell you what it feels like. It's that feeling that we get when it's like something's bugging us and we don't quite know what it is. And it's like, it's difficult to just relax into the body. There's that feeling of wanting more. There's that feeling of being so dissatisfied with what you've got. And then sometimes the mind comes in and says, no, you have to be grateful. And then maybe you see a book that says, no, gratitude. You have to be grateful for everything. You can't go down that road. But I want to tell you right now, you can be dissatisfied with your experience. Doesn't mean at the same time you can't be grateful. You can do both. But it is okay to be dissatisfied because the dissatisfaction gives way to what you actually want. And sometimes we need the courage to actually admit to ourselves, let alone anyone else, that this is what we want. Truly, we actually want to live like this. So when I went through my transformation, my first one, I've had a few, the big one after my illness, and I chose not to go back into the legal profession. It was a massive decision because I had expanded through that transformation and I could no longer squeeze myself and just go into that small safe game, that box that I was so familiar with as the lawyer, as the steady paycheck, this is the way that I was supposed to live. I couldn't contract into it. So of course, those closest to me at the time thought I was crazy. Why the hell would I give up a really great profession? That's what it looked like, right? A lawyer. Wow, it's so great, why would you do that? There was a lot of misunderstanding around that and confusion by people, and I understand that, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't contract and I couldn't go back into playing this safe small game. And so I made the decision to really take the leap. And I took that leap by saying, fuck it, I'm just going to create my business. I didn't have a clue how I was doing it. I just set a website up and I just allowed the process. And I'm coming up to 7th year this summer. And here I am, like figuring it out as I go. And I'm sure a lot of you have the same experience. But playing a safe, small game is a great way to hold yourself back. So what comes to you? What's the first thing? And you don't have to do 20 things here, but what's one thing if you just dropped it? If you just stopped either doing it or not doing it, what could that be? How are you playing safe? How are you keeping yourself, comfortable, smaller than you really are? I would love to know. So feel free to comment even when you're watching the replay. But a lot of people are. It's where a lot of people come to me where they're saying, they are ready to expand. They feel this discomfort and they're ready to just break out of it, but they don't even know what it is. So that's a challenging kind of energy. So just before I finish off with the last few, on that note, if you are feeling that on a deep level, I know not all of you will, but some of you will. I have, and I've been posting about it, the Starseed / soul activation and channeled guidance session. And that's the session I've been talking about recently, where it's a deep dive, life-changing, activating session where me and my team of guides, we go right into that soul blueprint and we tap into your mission, your soul path, deep, deep aspects of you, and you will not feel the same afterwards. So that is for anyone. That is really, well, it's for you if you can feel that it's for you. That would be the first thing. If you feel that that's exactly what you need, I invite you to that. So just scroll underneath this, you'll find it, or the link in the description, wherever you're watching this, depending. But I've floated it about, it's here, or message me if you feel like you just want the link directly. But that is for, some of you are really being called now to step up into your mission, your higher purpose, and it's the time. Some of you won't feel this, but for those of you who do, this is what I do. This is the session. It's the only single session that I offer right now, but it's incredibly powerful. So that's going to help you with a lot of what I've spoken of. It's understanding yourself on a very deep level, so you never doubt that, and you have absolute clarity on who you are, why you came, what your actual mission is, and how you're going to bring that into your life. So it's big stuff. It's the big questions that we often ask about our lives. So that, just check that session out for any of you that feel resonant with that. But obviously that's not for everyone, because not everybody feels that at that time. It's a very divinely timed thing. You're going to know, you'll recognize it instantly if it's for you. Okay, so what else did I say? Oh yeah, so another reason why you might hold yourself back, too attached, this is a big one, too logical and strategy. There's nothing wrong with either of those things, but what is happening, and again, it's when people come to me, that's sometimes where we focus. It's like or it might be you, it definitely was me in the past, where we're so attached to the logical part of the mind, we're just hanging on to the kind of safe, structured ways of doing things. So sometimes to really step into your power, I say sometimes, I mean pretty much always, to step fully into your power and break through, it requires us to let go of maybe the structure, right? The planning, the need to know what's coming next. That's a huge one. That's a huge one. That might take a little bit of focus, a little bit of working through. But it's this letting go of, I need a 5-year plan. So I used to have that energy. I used to live my life with like, I kid you not, proper 5-year plan. I've talked about this before, where I had it on a spreadsheet on my laptop, and it literally, month by month, year by year, I had my whole life mapped out over 5 years. Payments I'd make, money I'd make, moves I'd make, things I wanted to get done, holidays I'd take, trips I mean, it was like how spontaneous, right? And it's funny because later, when I found out more about my soul blueprint and how I actually need to be, it was so opposite to that. It was completely opposite to structure and everything remaining the same. So a lot of people are having to drop that attachment to logical and structure. And again, we still get to draw on that, because of course there are things we need to plan. We still lock our door, right? That's pretty structured, isn't it? So we're doing these things, but we're really being called now into these higher frequencies. And this is the message I'm always getting from my team of guides as well. They always bring it back to being in the moment. And I know that's so frustrating sometimes, but living more moment to moment and not needing to know, oh, this is the timeline I'm on and I know the end of that path, because we don't. And we allow ourselves to open up into even more possibilities if we just keep moving and we just keep letting it unfold. And on a soul level, by the way, we don't really want to know the ending of the movie, because how boring would that be if we were here and we knew exactly what was going to come? That wouldn't be the experience we came here for. So sometimes it's just embracing the experience. And what's coming to me is like being on the roller coaster, and instead of holding, this is challenging, instead of holding the bar really tight, it's like, just let it go, hands up, just let it take you, and just see where the journey takes you, because you might be so surprised what magic life has in store for you. I would never have, honestly, I never would have known or guessed that I would be working now in the world openly on a live stream and in my work as a channel for the high angelic realm and the high Arcturian council. It was definitely not on my 5-year plan. I maybe preempted a lot of things. I definitely didn't see that part of my journey. There was no way. I definitely didn't see that I was going to end up meeting the man of my dreams, right? Somebody I had, by the way, listed some traits about him a year before I met him, and I wrote them all down around what I'd really love to call in a relationship. And it was so good. I fell in love with this guy on paper, and then I released it thinking that is so amazing. Either that's not even possible, or I'll have to definitely wait until I'm about 75 to meet him, and then maybe we could meet in an old people's home and have a romance before we die. That's what I thought. Thought that would be as good as it could get. I didn't know that a year later I would meet him and it would be an instant connection, and he would be my best friend in the entire universe, and we'd get married and create our mission together that we do now. I never saw that coming. So when you let go of logic and structure, you just allow so much magic and power to come in for you. And that's what I want for every single person. I would want that for every one of you tuning in. And that's what I stand for. I fully believe that we can create and step into the most magnificent things, and things that your logical mind might even tell you that they're too good to be true. Nobody has it that good. It's not really possible. Again, all of the human world programming that has been deliberately set up to keep us away from our power. But as you start to connect, you're going to start stepping in and living over here on this other frequency. There's light here. There's magic here. There's an abundance of love here. There's adventure. There's massive creativity, wealth, if that's what you want to tap into, health, amazing friendships, amazing lifestyle, whatever it is that you're here to create. And this is available to every single one of us. It's just a choice and a decision. So how we break out of that is, as I just said, it's deciding, it's understanding what's holding us back, really seeing it, and really separating from these programs, really starting to shift and starting to understand that we get to reprogram ourselves, and we start to make choices and decisions, and everything starts with a decision. Absolutely everything starts with a decision. Nothing I've ever done in life has ever blossomed into fruition without me saying, I'm done with this. I'm done with this bullshit. I'm ready to step into something else. We have to make that decision because nobody will come in and make it for us. So if nothing else that you get from this live stream, maybe it's that. It's what decision do you make for yourself? You are so welcome. You're so welcome, Carrie. I'm glad that you love it. And it's just a confirmation. You know all of this. I'm never here telling any of you anything that you don't know. You already know this, but it's just pulling it out of you and connecting you back into what is really true, because you came in knowing this. So what else? Last couple. Yeah, so I'm just going to wrap it up by saying the lack of confidence in yourself, really not being fully connected into the truth of who you are. And a lot of you are in this transition. So transitions are amazing, aren't they? Because they're, as I said at the beginning, it's 1 foot here in the old way. You feel like it doesn't belong. You haven't yet stepped into your higher trajectory, maybe, or you're wanting to and you can't quite leap. You can't quite allow yourself to leap yet. So you're in this kind of transition phase, and that can feel really uncomfortable, but know that this is normal. It's just part of the growth. So there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, despite all the media and advertising and the beauty industries and the entertainment industries telling you that you're horrendous in some way. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just understanding that you're in a transition. We're all in a collective transition anyway, and then a lot of us personally are going through it on a deeper level. So on that, I just want to share another thing that I have, and this is very just for this week. I only shared it in my group, in my private group, but I'm just coming through now just to share it out here. So it's just for this week. So for those of you who don't know, I did laser focused channeled sessions where I would just have a 20-minute like intense session. They were very popular, where I channel direct information as a direct guide. I just get it through very quick. So what I decided to do, just as a little kind of play around this week, I just opened up an audio and email version of that called Magical Messages. And it's very simple. It's just you can email me with up to 3 questions or one area of specific focus, and I'll record a channeled guidance for you, about 15 or 20 minutes. If you've tuned into my channeled messages before, you'll know that's a lot. You can cover a lot in that time with my guides. They're very, very detailed. So it's a very, very temporary offer, and it's $55. So that's only this week, because I just thought it was fun just to throw that out there. If I do bring it in as a service later, it's definitely not going to be at this price. It was just like a little kind of offering that I decided to share in my group. So if you're interested in that, it's a completely different price point to the Starseed Soul Activation Channel session. That one is the 90-minute in-depth like activation session. It's a life transforming energy. It's a very, very detailed one. So that one's $555. So check out the link. Just scroll down underneath this, you'll find, I think, my last post. But if you want something that's just like a quick burst of information, some guidance, they're very powerful. Check out my magical messages. Again, scroll down, message me for either of those. But that one is just $55. But the last day to book on that is Thursday, because I'm only doing them this week. All right, so just those 2 offerings. Yeah, and let me know. And if you want those links, just pop me a private message. And I think, let me just see. So, Carrie, I feel I've held myself back by comparing myself to others who are further ahead, which is bonkers. At least I'm seeing that now. It is bonkers, isn't it? But it's understandable. And I've definitely done that. I've definitely, over the years, we scroll and then we see someone doing something and then we do a comparison. It's the world has set us up in this competitive comparison energy. It's what it kind of feeds off. So a way to reframe that is what I started doing is when I scroll, well, 2 things. When I scroll through and I start to get all like bitchy and moany about people, I come off Facebook. I know that's my sign of you need to get off Facebook and tune back in, find your center, and then come back on the scroll. So I do that. That's my sign. But the other thing is, when I see, if you see somebody where you go into that comparison, but if you see them share something that you think, oh, I'm not doing that, check in and see if what they're sharing, would you actually love to do it yourself? Because if you don't, then there's no point even giving that your any attention. But if you're seeing someone do something that you feel like, oh, I wish I could do that. Like it came up for me a few years ago. I was like, oh, I wish I could do an event. I wish I could oh my god, look, they're up there on the stage and they're speaking. Oh god, I wish I could do that. I started keeping a notebook and I wrote down every time I got triggered or I was comparing, I was taking it as a sign that is meant for me. That is meant for me. So you can reframe that. And so instead of comparing, just take it and thank the person in your mind, or even send them a message or comment on their stuff, whatever, but thank them in some way, and then take that as a sign that they're doing it. So it's a sure sign that you get to as well. And it's a really lovely way of connecting with other people and not getting into that comparison. And more than that, not feeling inadequate in yourself, because if it's possible for them, it's absolutely possible for you. In fact, it's evidence. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you love that, because it changes your whole experience on social media. It definitely did for me. And I've been doing that for years now. I see it. I'm like, oh, like I tell you one thing, it was like, oh, someone's surrounded by like this thing about business besties was really getting me a couple of years ago. Right. I was seeing people share their success and then they'd like be surrounded by their business besties on the masterminds they were on, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have that. I felt really triggered, and I had a lot of stuff coming up around friendships and connections and things, right? So that was for me. So I've reframed that and I was like, okay, every time I see that, I'm going to remind myself that there are amazing people out there and I just have to allow myself to connect in the right time. with the right people at the, in the right moment in my life. So it's a great one. It really works. It really works. So I hope that helped. I hope that just gave you a little kind of reset. I'm going to reclaim that word, reset. Reset is a good word. Yeah, it's been used in a crappy way, hasn't it? But reset. You can reset yourself. You can restore the truth. I'm so glad. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, and we can just bring it back to, why are we holding ourselves back? Where are we keeping ourselves small? What needs to go? We can start asking these questions and breaking through. Allow yourself to leap, because if we don't leap, no one's going to come and do this for us. It's just not going to happen. You could just be sitting here a year from now, right? And imagine a year from now, do you want to be in exactly the same position? Probably not. So what can you decide today? In fact, what can you decide in this moment, off the back of this message, off the back of this live stream? And if you want to just sit and reflect, go do that, even journal on it, or just have a moment where you can go, okay, use this energy, because instead of just hearing a live stream, take this energy and apply it to your life. So as a result of what you've heard, anything that stood out to you, what can you now do in your life? Either drop something, step into something, or decide something for yourself. And that's how you start breaking through and really stepping into your power, because it's in there. It is so in there, and it's who you are. So I send you lots of love. Check out either of those offers, Starseed Soul Activation Channeled Guidance Session, or the audio kind of magical messages if you just need a quick hit of guidance, and message me for info on any of those if you can't find the links. So thank you for joining me live. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I love it when people join me live. Thank you if you're watching the replay as well, and feel free to comment so I know you're here, and if you've got anything from this live stream, feel free to share it. Oh yeah, and I'm doing a very powerful live stream in my private group tomorrow. What is it called? I forget. Oh yeah, Fear of Change and Anchoring into Safety with Your Higher Self. It's going to be a deep session, channeled session, for my beautiful members in the Awake Revolution Soul team. So if you're not in there and you'd like to be, again, message me for the link or just search for it on Facebook. But that's going to be tomorrow, Wednesday at 7:30 UK time, I think. What did I say? Yeah, 7:30 UK time tomorrow. And that's going to be a good one, because a lot of us have that fear of change, and also it's part of why we hold ourselves back, right? Because we're scared of like, what would change look like? So that's a big one. So come and join us for that. And if you can't make the live time, the live stream is just in there and you can just watch the replay. All right, and I've got tons of other juicy stuff for you inside that group as well. Right, so send you lots of love. Thank you so much for joining on Facebook here and on YouTube as well, both platforms. Yes, and I will talk to you soon, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.